Hey everybody, it's Melinda here, and welcome to the newest episode of the Lotus podcast. If you haven't joined me before, we talk all things health for mind, body, and spiritual health. And this is really a group for any spiritual beings, empaths, yogis, whoever that are open to these holistic and alternative ideas for health. And if you don't know me, I am owner of Lotus Wellbeing. And I guide women in their midlife into transformation, really helping them focus on themselves, helping them find their best version of themselves as they're sort of moving into a new chapter in life. The Lit Lotus is a community where we love, we inspire, and we thrive together, hence the name Lit. And so I invite you today to just listen in, tune in, maybe do some of the practices that I will be leading you through. And just be open-minded to some of these transformational ideas, ways you can help balance yourself. And all of my teachings are kind of pulled from a variety of things. I'm very much into Reiki and energy healing, yogic traditions as a yoga teacher, and Ayurveda as well as a yoga health coach. So it's really about simplifying some of these things that we make very, very complicated. So on that note, I've been tuning in a little bit to some ideas about Polyvagal Theory. I cannot even begin to kind of express the detail that's involved in this theory, but it has to do with the vagal nerve system. And the vagus nerve or nerves run through the body from your brain stem all the way down through the throat, behind the ears, all the way down into your digestive tract and into your colon and lower what's the word there? Pelvic region. And so this vagal nerve system is what activates our rest and digest system, our parasympathetic nervous system. And I am not great at, like I said, reiterating the science, but what I am really good at is hearing things and then pulling out the simple concepts. And so, I'm hearing a lot about this lately. This is a theory developed by Dr. Porges, and you can find him on a variety of podcasts. So I highly encourage you to look into it if the science interests you. But what I love about this theory is that even though the science is complicated, right, how the nerves react, how the cells change in our bodies when the nerves react a certain way. And I think that's super fascinating. So that's why I encourage you to kind of go explore on your own and listen to a little bit more about it. But what I find so fascinating is that the way that we can soothe our nervous system is simple. And a lot of it is ancient, and it's very much tied into Ayurveda and yoga. If you're not familiar with Ayurveda is yoga's sister science. It's really the science of life. And it's how we live our daily lives in a way that's easeful and flowing and really taking care of our bodies and our minds. It's this idea of this total holistic health, right? So everything in the mind is connected to the body is connected to the mind. There's no break there. And so it's approaching life from that philosophy. And again, they can be really complicated concepts in Ayurveda, but at the root of it all, it's super simple. So just to give you a little bit of background about the polyvagal theory, it really is focusing about how we experience trauma in the body. And so not to get in depth with that today, because that's really not the focus of today's podcast. It's just a super fascinating idea of like this whole fight, flight, and freeze concept. So anyways, as I've been learning about this and hearing about this, I started thinking about my own nervous system quite a bit. So that's where I'm going with all this. And I have been completely almost shut down on certain days where I have no ability to move. And I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but it's like you just want to lay in bed all day, or you just need to lay around all day. And that is the point of where your nervous system is. It's basically screaming at you, right? The vagus nerve is like nowhere to be seen in terms of like activating that rest and digest part of it, right? You're in this constant sympathetic nervous system state where you're feeling fried, you're feeling overwhelmed, and you can't even move. You're at zero on the scale of like energy. And I hosted Thanksgiving a couple weeks ago, and it was beautiful. It was wonderful. I wasn't even that stressed going into it, but I'm on my feet for like the day before, the day of, cooking. I host everybody at my house. We have a lovely time. They weren't even here that late, which I was thankful for. It was maybe 9 p.m. But after like several days of all this, and then people leave, and then it's Black Friday shopping, and I don't leave in the house, but I'm online and I'm trying to get all these deals and trying to order, and I'm so overwhelmed with all the the choices. And I don't know if you ever experience that, but sometimes it's like so much is coming at you. It's sensory overload, right? My brain can barely function. And then by Sunday, I couldn't move. I could not move. And I had some obligations, I think, on Saturday as well. Oh yeah, we had a party to go to Saturday, so we're there all day, and we had to cook something and bring something for that. So it was just like, oh my God, like my body, my brain, everything was just on this shutdown mode. And so I start thinking about this whole idea of like this constant state of chronic inflammation in the body and chronic stress. And I'm like, this is what chronic stress feels like. And it doesn't feel good. And I think for anyone that's been there at any point in their lives where they're just at the point of zero on the energetic scale, and it doesn't matter what you do, you can't even read a book. Like you're at that point. You just stare at the TV, binge watch shows, you don't even care what food you're putting in your body. You're just desperate to not move, and that's all you can do. And to be at that level. And it wasn't just one day, because then you're back to work the next day, and you've got all these things scheduled, and you're doing your best to clear your calendar. At least I was doing my best to clear my calendar, and trying to honor how I'm feeling. But the energy was barely there. And I was scheduled to go into the office a few days, and I was scheduled to have sessions, and I didn't have any Reiki sessions, which, I shouldn't say didn't have any, but I had maybe one. And so it was minimal. And honestly, Reiki sessions benefit me. So those are actually a wonderful thing to invite in when the energy's not high, as long as I'm feeling okay and feeling emotionally okay. But just realizing that like, I need this rest. This rest is the most important thing in my life. And honoring that. And it's so funny how I'm thinking through this, and I'm like, God, you'd think when you're at zero, you would just be like, oh yeah, I need to pause. I need to cancel my calendar. I need to call in sick to work. But yet we don't do that. I didn't do that. And here, this is something that I honor and respect the wisdom and usually tune into. And this is a prime example of like this time of year, it feels like I'm on overload. Even the days when I am resting, I'm feeling like this constant pressure behind the scenes. And if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. And anyone that experiences anxiety in their life, this is that low-level, constant underlying anxiety. And I don't experience that all the time, but there's certainly been times in my life where I've had those moments. And we were just ready to have a pure meltdown. And it just feels heavy, and it feels like you can't move. And it feels like there's nothing in the world that you can do to help yourself in those moments. And so today's podcast is really about helping you take a step back and what to do in those situations when you're at zero. And if you're also like me, you might feel a little pressure from your partner to get things done because that person isn't feeling the same way you are, right? They have energy, or they're ready to go. Maybe they didn't cook as much, or they didn't help out as much for Thanksgiving, or whatever it is, right? Or children around you, or family members where they have these expectations of you, and you feel like you need to do those things because you promised. And it's hard to say, no, I can't do that. I don't feel well today. I feel like I have zero energy. And so today's podcast is about inviting you to set your boundaries. As I'm working on setting mine, I like to share these stories, but setting your boundaries to honor where your body is, to honor your nervous system. And then I'm going to give you a few tips in terms of things you can do when you're at zero. Because there's not a lot, right? Sometimes it's just all you can do to get off the couch. So let's start with honoring your body and setting your boundaries. So those days when you're at zero, or maybe you're even at 20%, your energy's pretty low. And we've talked about this in some other podcasts where your vibration tends to be low when your energy is low. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is try and take a step back from whatever you're doing. Even if you feel like you have to get all these things done, can you start your day or stop where you're at in your day? Turn off the computer, the screens, the phone, because that right there is very frazzling to the nervous system. And you might not realize it. If you're a social media junkie on TikTok, whatever, it's a constant feed and your nervous system is getting bombarded with constant messages, whether you realize it or not, right? We have this autonomic nervous system. It's designed to take in what's in our environment. That's the point of it. We need to know where we're at. We are responding constantly, whether we realize it or not. We're perceiving things, we're hearing things, we're smelling things, tasting things. All this is constantly in our nervous system. And so the first thing I invite you to do is stop. And sometimes that is really hard. Like I was online shopping a couple Fridays ago, and I could not freaking shut the screen. I'm like, I just got to order this. And it got to the point I just ordered a bunch of stuff after like 2 hours of being on the internet. I didn't even know what I ordered. And I was just like, what the hell did I just do? What am I doing? And then my nervous system was shot. So any energy I had last Friday after all that cooking was like dwindled down to almost nothing after I did internet shopping. So just notice that. Notice what happens to you when you're on your screens. And I know it's the thing we want to do, right? We want to watch television. We want to be on our screens because it takes zero energy and it's soothing your nervous system. So I invite you to kind of take a step back, close your screen, and if you're having a hard time tearing yourself away, set an alarm for 5 minutes, and whatever's not done, like you're sticking to it, okay? So find a way to remove yourself from that situation. Step 1. Step 2 is breathe. And there's a few breaths you can do, and I'm going to give you 2 today. So one of the tips I'm going to give you is the 4-7-8 breath. And this breath work is really great at soothing the nervous system. So if you haven't done it before, you inhale for a count of 4. You're going to hold for a count of 7, and then slow exhale out the nose for a count of 8. You can also exhale out the mouth, actually. There's some different things that can help stimulate when you exhale out the mouth. And the vagus nerve does run down the back of the throat. So sometimes audible sounds, humming, things like that can actually help soothe the nervous system. So that's the first breath I'm going to invite in. So let's do it together right now. All right, are you ready? Exhale out your breath completely. Just sit comfortably and sit with a tall spine. So if you're in a chair, lengthen through the spine. Notice if you're slouching, maybe even open the arms for a moment. Relax the shoulders down. Now exhale the breath out the nose and inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Slow exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you would repeat. And doing that for maybe 8 rounds is really going to help you tune back into your body, notice how your body's feeling, and relax a little bit. And you can do that breath work actually any time of day when you're feeling frazzled, you're feeling frustrated. Really good, calming, soothing breath work. The next breath work I'm going to recommend, which is great, especially if nobody's around, is called bee breath, also known as Bhramari Pranayama. And then you can add a mudra to this, Shanmukhi mudra. But the simple way to do this is to just use your index fingers and you'll close your ears as you do it. So don't close your ears now, but you'll just press on that little cartilage to close off the ears, I forget what that's called, but, right in front of the ear canal. And bee breath is super soothing. It's the humming sound in addition to sensory deprivation. If you do the full Shanmukhi mudra, there's a way where you kind of place the fingers over the eyes, you partially close the nostrils, You can even close the lips, and this will take you into a state of pratyahara. In yoga, that's one of the 8 limbs, and that's that sensory control or sort of sensory deprivation. I'm sure you've heard that term before, right? If you've ever done those float places, that's really what you're doing. So bee breath is a way to come back into yourself. And then the humming will soothe the nervous system, and as well as closing off the senses. So you're calming all parts of the senses and calming the full nervous system this way. So as you breathe in, you'll just breathe in through the nose. And then as you exhale, you're going to hum. So the jaw is relaxed, and you'll choose one tone. And you might experiment with the lower or higher tones. I've heard various theories on which one is better. If you want to come into grounding, someone said low tone, and that made sense to me because it's associated with your root chakra. I've also heard higher tones. So I say try different tones and see what comes to you naturally in the moment. And that's probably the right tone. So we'll do it together. Long, tall spine once again. And it's your choice if you want to plug the ears with the exhale. Maybe the first round you listen and then plug the ears. So take a nice deep breath in through your nose. And exhale. And inhale through the nose. Exhale. And then you can keep going and close your eyes during this breath. I did mention that, but usually breath work, always nice to close the eyes. And focus your attention at your third eye center with your eyes closed. So it's sort of a soft gaze. The eyes are soft, the forehead is soft, the jaw is soft, and you'll notice that tension relaxing through the face. And then your gaze sort of coming from the middle of your brain outwards to that space between your eyebrows. And that's will help bring in a little more focus and relaxation and tune into your intuitive self. And then if you want to take the full mudra with it, there's different ways you can do this. So the thumbs will go over the ear cartilage and press in. And then index finger and third will go kind of at the eyebrow, and then middle finger over the eye. Ring finger, just a light pressure on the nostrils, and that'll sort of restrict the breath and then make your belly expand, which also stimulates that vagus nerve. So partial closing of the nostrils, and then the pinkies can go wherever they can go. There's another version where the index fingers goes over the eyes, the middle finger to the nose, the fourth ring finger to your top lip, and then your pinky finger to your bottom lip, and you're sort of closing your lips, if that makes sense. So kind of pressure towards each other. I find that mudra a little bit more challenging. So, notice what works for your hands, and you can get online and look on YouTube, and there's, different variations they'll show you of that mudra. And that will truly close off all the senses. And if you do maybe a round of 6 breaths or 2 rounds of 6, 10 breaths, whatever you have time for, and really hum and just tune into that, you're going to notice a vast difference in how you're feeling. And this, again, can be used anytime that you are feeling like your nervous system is on edge or it's feeling kind of just overtaxed. And this will really help tune into yourself. So that's step 1. I should say that's step 2. Step 1 is get off your device. And step 2 is come into your breath. And then after you've come into your breath, if you are able to meditate for a few minutes, highly recommend meditating. And there's so many different meditations, but doing a grounding meditation, even it's as simple as you're envisioning roots coming down from your feet or your root chakra into the earth, and just feeling them wind down into the earth through the crust, through the soil, through the rocks and water underground, and through the magma, and all the way down to the core. And maybe you envision the core of the earth as this beautiful crystal, and with this beautiful glowing light, and then the roots wrap around, and you're feeling that connection to the earth. You really want to ground yourself. And you're probably at this point super tired, so it's usually pretty easy to ground yourself. But if you're stuck in your thoughts in your head, that can make it a little bit easier to ground yourself, just depending on where you're at and how you're feeling. And depending on where you're really taxed. So are you physically fatigued? Are you mentally fatigued? Are you energetically fatigued? Emotionally fatigued? Maybe you're all of those things. All right. So just noticing and really becoming the observer. So step 2 is doing your meditation and grounding yourself. If that doesn't resonate with you, just focus on your breathing. Come back to the breath, and the mind will inevitably begin to wander. Return to the breath. Return to yourself, feel that connection to your body, and begin to bring in that observational mind. So stepping out of the feelings, stepping out of the thoughts for a minute, and observing the feelings, observing the thoughts, observing the physical sensations, observing the emotions. Coming into that observational state, not trying to change anything, not having judgment around it, but just saying, oh, isn't that interesting? This is what I'm feeling right now. And just beginning there is going to help you make the next steps, the small steps. And I say very small steps. We're not looking at doing right now. We're looking at resting. So your action is to rest and give yourself time and space. Your action is to clear a little bit of time off your calendar. Your action is to say, what is going to help me right now in this moment? And maybe the answer is, I need to sit and stare at a screen, okay? But still do those other steps. See if you can get yourself to that point. Sometimes that's the hardest part, is just turning off the thing. I think step 1's the hardest part. All right, and then just saying, I have all these demands on me right now. Some of those are self-created, some are from others around you. And just being like, where are my boundaries? So you've done some meditating, and then even maybe your meditation is around your boundaries and asking yourself, what do I need? So you've done these observational meditation, you've kind of taken in the sounds around you, the smells, you're tuning into your body, you're tuning into yourself. And if you're familiar with the koshas, these are these 5 layers of yourself. And so you work through those different layers. You notice your physical body, you notice your energetic body, your mental and emotional body. And then you start to tune into your intuitive body, which is the next step. And you're asking yourself, what do I need now? You're saying intuition, what do I need in this moment? And if you just allow some space, perhaps the answer will come to you. And this is not the thinking mind. So I want to be really clear about that. If the thinking mind starts answering, you're going to know it, right? It's the brain, it's activating, it's saying, hey, I'm here, I'm going to try and take over again. That's not what we want. I want you to tune into your intuition through your body. Asking your body, asking your intuitive self, that third eye center, the 6th chakra there, what do you need in this moment? And when you've tuned into that, allow the answer to flow. And if no answer flows, maybe the answer is simply just rest, okay? But ask yourself, what do you need? And if the answer is rest, give yourself that time and space, whether it's 10 minutes, whether it's an hour. Don't try to push through it. We come to this mindset somehow culturally that pushing through it is a good thing. It's honorable. That's nonsense. I'm going to call bullshit on that, okay? When we push through it and you don't take the few minutes to rest and relax, you end up worse off. You're not serving yourself. You're not meeting your commitments in a way that's going to feel good for you or for the other person around you. Chances are you're going to have some sort of meltdown at some point, whether that's an anxiety attack, you're going to get sick, you're going to, your immune system's just breaking down, you have autoimmune disorders. There's a million things that can happen when we push through it because we're not listening to our bodies and we're trying to let our brains take over. So that's not at all what we want, okay? So you're tuning into your intuitive self and asking yourself what you need. All right, so that's kind of step 3 is that meditation, and then step 4 would be asking yourself what you need. And then lastly, tuning in and saying, all right, what's next? Let your eyes flutter open. You've kind of got your answer. Can you take the action step? If the action step is rest, that's your step. Look at your calendar, clear things out. Tell your partner, your family, hey, I'm really sorry. I can't do this today. I don't feel good. And being okay with that. Like, you don't have to say you're sick. You can just tell them, like, I don't feel like I can do this today. This is not serving me. I promise we'll do it another day. It'll be so much better because I'll be fully present. I won't be so worn out. I won't be yawning. I won't be exhausted the whole time, right? And you're going to show up for them in a better way. And that might be telling work, hey, I can't do everything I said I was going to do today. And I know we can't always take the day off work, but sometimes we need to take the day off work. Or sometimes we need to be like, hey, I need to come in a couple hours late today. I'm not feeling good. I just need to rest a little bit. Okay. So just honoring that and seeing where you can make adjustments in your schedule. And I know it's hard to set these boundaries. It is so challenging, especially if you are a woman or if you are any kind of caretaker and you have demands on your time from others. The people that are around you that you take care of are going to understand. I mean, if you have little children, I know that is such a challenge, but enlisting the help then from those around you, your support system, and having that support system, saying to your partner or another child, hey, can you do XYZ for me right now? I need 30 minutes to myself. All right. So finding that time. If you are a busy person at work and say you are a leader and you have a lot of responsibility and you have meetings scheduled throughout your entire day, look at your calendar. Be like, what can I reschedule? Can I close my office door, put on some lovely music, something that's soothing to me, or something that's going to raise my vibration, and maybe I can eat lunch and close off the rest of the world for 20 minutes. I cancel this meeting because really this meeting doesn't need to happen, and I reschedule it for another day. Or maybe it doesn't even need rescheduled. You look at your calendar. It's amazing what you can clear off when you really truly look at it. Like, what can I let go of? What can I let somebody else handle? Is there someone that can attend in your place? And maybe they give you a rundown for 5 minutes afterwards. And then look, you've got 30 minutes of your life back to soothe yourself. All right. So being really honest, brutally honest with yourself, and being okay with, disappointing others, because you're really not disappointing them. They're going to get over it. It's fine, even if they're disappointed for 5 minutes. But if you tell them why, they're going to understand. They truly care about you and they don't want to see you ill and they want you to be at your best. All right. So just remember that, and that you are your first priority in life. You are the one that matters the most. And I know it's hard for us to hear that, but it's so true. Because when you show up at zero, you have nothing left to give to anybody else, and it's not going to help them. All right, so the very last thing I'm going to invite is to see if you can find a little bit of therapeutic movement. And I don't mean go run a mile even, not even a run at all. Maybe a nice walk outside for a few minutes to feel sunshine, even if it's cold out. Allow yourself to take in that sunshine that is so therapeutic and it feels good. Maybe 20 minutes. If you can spare 20 minutes and it feels okay for you to get outside. If it doesn't feel good to walk outside for 20 minutes and you feel like you just don't have that in you, ask yourself, can I go out for 5 minutes? Can I go sit outside for 5 minutes, even in the cold, and just look at the sky? Breathe in the fresh, crisp air. That can rejuvenate you. So finding those little things, or maybe it's putting on a song that's uplifting and dancing around the house if you have that capacity. Finding things that are going to fill you up. Maybe it's doing a yin yoga practice and it's a 10-minute or 20-minute set of postures where you're just holding and breathing and you're grounding. So you're tuning into your body to get out of your head, to soothe your nervous system. And this is going to help you bring back in the mental and emotional balance. Get back into your body. So often many of us do this energetic work, which I am a firm believer in, but they forget that the first thing that you need to do is come back to your body. And a lot of the energetic work is actually working on your energetic body, right? It's working on one of your layers. But we're trying to figure out all the time what's wrong with us. And I'm going to invite you today to not figure out anything. You're going to tune in and listen to your body. Your physical, your energetic, your mental bodies, these are all real things. Your intuitive body. And then maybe you can even tune into your bliss body. but that's usually when you've raised your vibration. So that's not the ultimate goal of all these steps. The goal is to soothe yourself in a way that's nourishing and healthy. It's not going to numb yourself out on screens, on social media. It's not to numb yourself with wine and rich foods. And, this time of year, that is the thing to do. We are on go. We are holiday shopping. We're decorating. We're celebrating. We're working just as much as ever. We've got all these wonderful parties, and it's so much fun, and your nervous system is on overdrive. So slow down, breathe, meditate, ask yourself what you need. Do that next action step, the smallest thing. Clear your calendar, give yourself 20 minutes, rest, whatever you can do. And then finally, what movement is medicine for you? Is it slow yoga? Maybe it's singing in the shower. You're going to take a hot bath and relax in the bath. That doesn't seem like movement, but we want to invite in this yin energy, this soothing energy. We have enough yang in our life. We have enough movement all the time. And it's not always the best movement, right? Like, we want to bring in these healthy movements, the good stressors. We have distress and we have eustress. So we want to bring in these good stressors, the eustress. But only when you have the energetic capacity to bring it in. Okay? And if you find that you never have the energetic capacity to bring it in, it's time to take a deep, hard look at your life and say, what do I need in my life to help me feel better? Is it a change of jobs? Is it stopping doing something? And this is something I've been struggling with so much lately in my personal life. I love to do all the things. I love to teach yoga. I love to do Reiki. I've got this part-time job at my old corporate office, which I'm so appreciative for the income. I also have my coaching, which I love. And I'm looking at all these things. And I'm like, I can't keep doing all these things. Plus workshops, plus teaching yoga at the Cat Cafe. Like, all these things. And I'm like, whoa. I don't even have the space, even though I think I do. I think I'm doing fine doing all these things. It takes a lot energetically to do all these things. And as a Vata person, I tend to have this scattered mindset. And it's Vata time of year. So that's where this energy of air and ether, we're up in our heads. And a lot of us are out of balance when it comes to this Vata energy. And so we need to ground and come back into balance. So there's so many things piled on, plus our dosha experience this time of year, because that's what goes out of whack, because that's what we're experiencing in our environments, is this Vata dosha energy. The cool wind, the cold air, it's dry, it's brittle, it's movement, and it's like on overdrive. And so starting to reevaluate what's going on in your life. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm saying I still love doing all these things and I'm not giving up everything, but I'm putting a pause on some of this stuff for now. And I'm asking myself, what do I truly feel like it's going to bring me joy? It's going to build my business. It's going to help me feel like this is my highest self calling me in. And I'm learning that coaching is where I want to be. And I still will do the occasional Reiki session. I'm still going to do some yoga sessions. Those don't go away. And I'm still teaching yoga every Friday morning on Insight Timer, if you want to join me there, 8 a.m. Eastern time. Sorry, just had to plug that. But I'm still doing some of those things, but I'm dialing them way back because those things bring me joy. And I have joy when I do them in very small ways. And when I start doing them all the time, the joy dissipates. So I'm doing those things very small, and I'm focusing on the coaching. All right, so that is my message for today. I hope that this serves you well and helps you. If you want to know more about how you can work with me, I am now offering on the elitelotus.me webpage, yay, where you can see my refined offerings a little bit, and you can also schedule a clarity call with me if you just want to learn a little bit more about it. But on my new page, I'm offering one-on-one coaching as well as my signature year-long group coaching program, called the Living Inspiration Tribe. And that program is specifically for women who are, in their 40s, 50s, 60s, that time of life where things are shifting for them. Kids are older, they might be moving out, and it's really a big transitional period. And I'm sharing this because I've gone through this myself, and lots of things are changing. Our bodies are changing, our lifestyles are changing, the way our household energy changes, right? And so this is really a beautiful, perfect time to start focusing on yourself. And so that's what this group coaching is really all about. It's women, helping women. We all come together. We have intelligent, beautiful, smart, funny, awesome women in this group. And we all come together every week, and there's plenty of breaks in there. I shouldn't say every week, but we meet once a week on Zoom. We have a few live meetups for those that live locally. And it's an amazing community of women that pull together, and we support each other. And you learn all these basic habit skills that are going to help you tune into yourself. They're going to help you feel better in your body, your mind, and your spirit. And I promise you that. And it's all about, once again, coming back to yourself. You are loving yourself so much that you are saying, I deserve this time for me, and this is what I need to feel better in my life and to age gracefully. And that's really the goal of the group. So that's my focus of my group coaching program. Or if doesn't really sound great to you, or you want to work more in depth with me, I have one-on-one coaching, and then we can do a combination of those two things and make a VIP package, like a custom package just for you. So if you want the individual support and coaching with just myself as well as the group, that's a really, really great way to invest time and money and energy into yourself. And that's going to, of course, be your optimal results. But it's all about what is speaking to you. So I invite you to check out my webpage and join me for Yoga Friday morning, and just reach out, message me, send me a message on Insight Timer, or schedule a clarity call, and let's chat a little bit more about that. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will be talking to you again soon. Namaste.